I watch the blood pool around the shattered glass slipper, and I smile. They always get the story wrong. They paint me as the victim, the poor abused girl who needed a fairy godmother and a prince to save her. But I didn't need saving. I never did. My name is Ella Ashwood, and this is the truth about what really happened that night at the palace. The morning of the ball, I wake to my stepmother Vivian's shrill voice cutting through the manor like a blade. Ella. The breakfast is burning. I don't rush. I never rush anymore. Instead, I take my time descending the servants' stairs, each step deliberate, measured. When I enter the kitchen, Vivian's face is already purple with rage, my stepsisters Daphne and Cordelia hovering behind her like vultures. You're useless, Vivian spits. Completely useless. Your father would be ashamed. I meet her eyes and smile sweetly. Would he? The question hangs in the air like smoke. Vivian's expression falters for just a moment, and I see it, the flicker of uncertainty, of fear. Good. She should be afraid. My father died 6 months ago. Fell down the stairs, they said. Tragic accident. The doctor signed off on it without question, and I inherited nothing. Everything went to Vivian, as per the will that suddenly appeared 3 days after his death. A will that left me with nothing but the clothes on my back and a room in the attic. But I know the truth. I know what Vivian did. I know what they all did. The ball is tonight, Daphne says, examining her nails. We'll need you to help us get ready. Our gowns need pressing, and Cordelia's hair will take hours. Of course, I say, still smiling. Anything for my dear sisters. Cordelia narrows her eyes at me. She's the smart one, the one who senses something off in my compliance. But even she doesn't understand what's coming. None of them do. The gowns are exquisite, emerald silk for Daphne, sapphire blue for Cordelia. I handle them with care as I press out every wrinkle, as I sew on every loose bead. My fingers work with practiced precision, and I think about the real reason for this ball. Prince Adrian is choosing a bride. Everyone knows it. The entire kingdom has been buzzing with the news for months. Whichever woman catches his eye will become the future queen. Vivian sees it as her daughter's ticket to ultimate power. She's spent a fortune on their dresses, on their jewelry, on private dancing lessons with the palace's former choreographer. She's invested everything in this night. She has no idea she's already lost. Will you be attending, Ella? Cordelia asks as I curl her hair. Her voice is casual, but I catch the edge of mockery beneath it. Oh, I don't think so, I reply, winding another section of her dark hair around the hot iron. I have nothing suitable to wear. What a shame, Daphne simpers from the vanity. Perhaps next time. There won't be a next time. Not for them. As evening approaches, I help my stepsisters into their gowns, adjust their jewels, perfect their makeup. They look stunning, truly. Like princesses from a fairy tale. You've done well tonight, Ella, Vivian says, and for a moment, there's almost something like approval in her voice. Perhaps you're not completely worthless after all. I curtsy deeply. Thank you, stepmother. I live to serve. The moment the carriage pulls away, I move. The dress is hidden in the old potting shed, wrapped in cloth and stashed behind broken terracotta pots. I unwrap it carefully, and even in the dim light, it takes my breath away. Cloth of silver, shimmering like moonlight. A bodice encrusted with diamonds, real diamonds, not the paste gems my stepsisters wear. A skirt that flows like water, and shoes made of crystal glass, impossibly delicate yet surprisingly strong. I didn't need a fairy godmother. I needed money, connections, and 3 months of careful planning. The seamstress who made this dress believes I'm the daughter of a wealthy merchant from the north, someone who values her privacy. She was paid handsomely for her discretion. The jeweler who provided the diamonds thinks they're for a foreign dignitary. The glassmaker who crafted the shoes was told they were for a performance piece. No one knows who I really am. No one connects quiet, downtrodden Ella Ashwood with the mysterious patron who commissioned these pieces. I bathe in the kitchen, using the lavender soap I've been hiding. I do my own hair, pinning it up in an elaborate style I've practiced dozens of times. I apply makeup with a steady hand, not too much, just enough to enhance, to transform. When I finally put on the dress and look at myself in the cracked mirror above the kitchen sink, I almost don't recognize the woman staring back. She looks powerful. Dangerous. Nothing like a victim. Perfect. The carriage I hired arrives exactly on time. The driver doesn't ask questions, just opens the door and helps me inside. As we roll toward the palace, I pull out the small vial hidden in my bodice and hold it up to the moonlight streaming through the window. The liquid inside is clear, odorless, tasteless. Completely undetectable. And absolutely lethal. The palace is even more magnificent than I remembered. Crystal chandeliers cast rainbow prisms across marble floors. Courtiers in silk and velvet swirl through grand halls. Music pours from the ballroom like honey. I pause at the entrance, and I feel every eye turn toward me. This is the moment. This is when I become someone else entirely. "Your name, miss?" the herald asks. "Lady Celestia of Silvermont," I lie smoothly. The fictional estate is far enough away that no one will question it tonight. "Lady Celestia of Silvermont," the herald announces, and I descend the stairs. The crowd parts like water. I see my stepsisters near the punch table, their mouths falling open in shock and jealousy. I see nobles whispering behind fans and gloved hands. I see the prince himself turn from his conversation, his dark eyes finding mine across the room. And I see him start walking toward me. Prince Adrian is handsome in the way fairy tales describe, tall, dark-haired, with sharp features and an aristocratic bearing. But there's something else in his eyes, something that surprises me. Intelligence. And sadness. "My lady," he says, bowing slightly. "I don't believe we've been introduced." "We haven't, Your Highness," I reply, curtsying. "I'm rather new to court." "Then allow me to welcome you properly." He extends his hand. "Would you do me the honor of this dance?" I take his hand, and as we move onto the floor, I'm acutely aware of every person watching us. My stepsisters look murderous. Vivian looks calculating, trying to figure out who this rival is and how to eliminate her. Too late, I think. Years too late. "You're different from the others," Adrian says as we waltz. He's an excellent dancer, leading with confidence but not arrogance. "They all want to impress me. You don't seem to care." "Should I?" I ask, raising an eyebrow. "You're just a man, Your Highness. A man with a crown, perhaps, but still just a man." He laughs, genuinely surprised. "You're either incredibly brave or incredibly foolish. Perhaps I'm both." We dance 3 more times, and with each dance, I learn more about him. Adrian isn't what I expected. He's thoughtful, questioning, clearly uncomfortable with the spectacle of this ball. He speaks about duty and obligation with a heaviness that sounds almost like grief. "Do you believe in fairy tales, Lady Celestia?" he asks during our 4th dance. "I believe in the truth beneath them," I reply carefully. Fairy tales are stories we tell to make sense of cruelty. To pretend there's magic in the world when really there's just survival. His eyes search mine. "You've suffered. Everyone suffers, Your Highness. The question is what we do with that suffering." It's nearing midnight when I excuse myself, claiming I need air. Adrian looks disappointed but doesn't press. As I slip through the palace corridors, I'm acutely aware that I'm running out of time. I find the royal chambers easily. I studied the palace layout for weeks. The guards are at the ball, their posts abandoned in favor of watching the spectacle. Security is always lax during celebrations. Inside the prince's private study, I find what I'm looking for, the cabinet where he keeps his personal wine, the bottle he drinks from each night before bed. I've learned his habits through careful observation, through bribing servants, through piecing together information like a puzzle. I uncork the bottle and add 3 drops from my vial. 3 drops. That's all it takes. But as I'm recording the bottle, I hear footsteps in the corridor. I freeze, my heart hammering. The footsteps stop just outside the door. "I know you're in there," says a voice I recognize instantly. Cordelia. My stepsister pushes open the door, her sapphire gown rustling. Her face is hard, calculating. "I knew there was something wrong about you tonight. The way you looked at us, the way you smiled. Like you knew a secret." "Cordelia," I say calmly, setting down the wine bottle. "What are you doing here?" "Following you. You weren't getting air, you were sneaking around the palace like a common thief." Her eyes flick to the bottle, then back to me. "What did you just put in that wine?" "Nothing that concerns you." "I think it concerns me very much." She steps closer, and I see something in her expression that surprises me. Not anger. Fear. "Ella, what have you done? What are you planning?" The use of my real name feels like a slap. In this dress, in this palace, I'm not Ella. I'm someone else entirely. "You should go back to the ball," I say quietly. "Forget you saw me here. The prince is going to drink that wine, isn't he?" Cordelia's voice is barely a whisper. "You're going to kill him." I don't answer. "I don't need to." "Why?" she asks, and there's genuine confusion in her voice. "What has he ever done to you?" "It's not about him," I say. "It's about your mother. About what she did to my father. About what you all did." Cordelia's face goes pale. "I don't know what you mean." "Yes, you do." I step toward her, and she backs up against the wall. "You know exactly what I mean. You were there that night. You saw what Vivian did." "It was an accident," Cordelia whispers. "Father fell." "My father was pushed," I interrupt, my voice cold. "Your mother pushed him down those stairs because he found out about her embezzlement. About the money she'd been stealing from his business for years. About her plan to forge a new will and take everything." Tears stream down Cordelia's face. "I didn't want any part of it. I tried to stop her. But you didn't." The words hang between us like a blade. "You stayed silent. You let her get away with murder. You helped her take everything from me. So you'll kill an innocent prince? That's your revenge?" "The prince is not my target," I say. "Your mother is." Cordelia's expression shifts from fear to confusion. "What?" I pick up the wine bottle and hold it to the light. "This wine isn't for Adrian. It's for Vivian." I knew she'd be desperate to ingratiate herself with the prince after seeing me dance with him. I knew she'd try to get into his private chambers, to snoop, to find something she could use. And I knew she couldn't resist sampling his private wine collection. She's been drinking secretly for years. She thinks no one notices, but I do. I notice everything. The realization dawns on Cordelia's face. The guards will find her here, dead, with stolen items in her pockets. A thief, caught in the act. No one will question it. No one will mourn her. I smile. Perfect justice. "This is insane," Cordelia breathes. "You're insane." "No," I correct gently. "I'm thorough." For a long moment, we stare at each other. Then Cordelia straightens her shoulders. "I won't let you do this," she says. "I'll tell the guards. I'll tell everyone. That you and your mother murdered my father?" I interrupt. "That you've been living off stolen money? That you've been complicit in covering up a crime for 6 months?" I shake my head. "Go ahead. Tell them. But you'll go down with her." Cordelia's face crumples. "What do you want from me?" "I want you to leave. Right now. Take Daphne and get far away from here. Go north, change your names, start over. Do it before tomorrow morning, and I'll keep your secret. I'll let you live. And if we don't? Then I'll make sure everyone knows what you did. I have proof, letters, financial records, testimony from servants. I've spent 6 months building an airtight case. The only reason I haven't used it yet is because I wanted this. I gesture to the room. I wanted to take everything from Vivian the way she took everything from me. Cordelia is sobbing now, her careful makeup running down her cheeks. She's our mother. She's a murderer, I reply coldly. And you're lucky I'm giving you a choice. My father didn't get one. The clock in the corridor begins to chime. Midnight. Time's up, I say. Make your decision. Cordelia looks at the wine bottle, then at me. Finally, she nods. We'll leave. Tonight. But Ella, she hesitates. This won't bring him back. I know, I say softly. But it will let me sleep at night. She leaves without another word, and I hear her footsteps receding down the corridor. I position the wine bottle exactly where it was, checking to make sure everything looks undisturbed. Then I hear other footsteps. Heavier. Confident. Vivian. My stepmother sweeps into the room like she owns it, her emerald gown glittering. She doesn't see me at first, hidden in the shadows behind the heavy curtain. Where is that worthless girl? She mutters to herself. Disappearing like that, making a spectacle with the prince. As if he'd ever choose some nobody over my daughters. She moves to the wine cabinet, just as I knew she would. Her hands shake slightly as she uncorks the bottle, my father's bottle, the poisoned one. A little taste won't hurt, she says to herself. Just to calm the nerves. I step out of the shadows. Hello, Vivian. She spins around, the bottle clutched to her chest. Her face goes through several emotions in rapid succession: confusion, recognition, fury. Ella? She squints at me. What are you doing here? And what are you wearing? Do you like it? I do a small turn, letting the silver dress shimmer. I thought I should look my best for the ball. For your reckoning. Her face hardens. You presumptuous little. Careful, I interrupt. You're holding poisoned wine. I'd hate for you to drop it. The color drains from her face. What? The wine in your hands. I poisoned it. 3 drops of a substance I acquired from a very discreet apothecary. Tasteless, odorless, and absolutely fatal. I smile. You haven't drunk any yet, have you? Vivian looks down at the bottle in horror. You're bluffing. Am I? I tilt my head. Tell me, Vivian, how did my father really die? He fell, she says automatically. It was an accident. He was pushed, I correct. By you. Because he discovered you'd been embezzling from his company for 3 years. Because he was going to turn you over to the authorities. Because you couldn't let him destroy the life you'd built. You can't prove that, she hisses, but her eyes betray her fear. I can, actually. I have letters from the bank showing the irregular transfers. I have testimony from servants who heard you arguing that night. I have the original will, the real one, that left everything to me. The forged one you produced after his death won't stand up to scrutiny. I take a step closer. I've spent 6 months building a case against you. 6 months watching, waiting, gathering evidence. Then why not go to the authorities, she demands. Why this elaborate charade? Because I wanted you to know, I say simply. I wanted you to understand that I'm not the helpless victim you thought you could crush. I wanted you to feel fear, the way my father must have felt in those last moments. I wanted justice. Vivian's hand tightens on the bottle. You're insane. Perhaps. Or perhaps I'm just done being your victim. For a moment, we stand in silence. Then Vivian does something I don't expect. She laughs. Oh, Ella, she says, and there's genuine amusement in her voice. You really think you've won? You really think this is justice? She gestures around the room. You've poisoned a bottle of wine that you think I'll drink. But what makes you think I'm stupid enough to drink it now that you've told me? My smile doesn't waver. Because that bottle isn't poisoned. Her expression freezes. The bottle in your hands is perfectly safe, I continue calmly. I lied. The real poisoned bottle is in your bedroom at home, in your private cabinet, hidden behind the false panel where you keep your stolen jewelry. The bottle of expensive brandy you drink every night before bed. The one you think is your secret. Vivian's face goes white. No. You drank from it before you left for the ball, didn't you? Just a little taste, to steady your nerves. You've already ingested enough to be lethal. The poison works slowly, you have maybe an hour before the symptoms become obvious. 2 hours before. I let the sentence hang. You're lying, she says, but her voice shakes. Am I? Tell me, do you feel a slight tingling in your fingers? A warmth spreading through your chest? That's not the wine, Vivian. That's the poison starting to work. She drops the bottle. It shatters on the marble floor, red wine spreading like blood. The authorities are already on their way to the manor, I continue. They'll find your hidden room, your stolen goods, the evidence of your embezzlement. They'll find my father's real will. And they'll find you, dead from self-administered poison, unable to face justice for your crimes. A guilty conscience, they'll say. A fitting end. Vivian lunges at me, her hands reaching for my throat, but I'm faster. I sidestep, and she crashes into the wall, gasping. There's no antidote, I say quietly. I made sure of that. You have perhaps 90 minutes left. You could spend them trying to kill me, or you could spend them making peace with what you've done. Ella, she gasps, sliding down the wall. Please. I'm sorry. I didn't mean. Yes, you did, I interrupt. You meant every moment of cruelty. Every insult. Every blow. Every day you made me feel worthless. You meant all of it. Tears stream down her face, ruining her makeup. What about my daughters? I gave them a choice, I say. Cordelia took it. They'll be far from here by morning, starting new lives. They'll be free of you, just as I am now. I turn to leave, my glass slippers clicking on the marble. Ella. Vivian calls after me. You'll never get away with this. I pause at the door and look back at her, this woman who tried to break me, who killed my father, who thought she could steal my life. I already have, I say. And then I'm gone, slipping back into the crowd at the ball as if nothing has happened. Prince Adrian finds me on the balcony, looking out over the moonlit gardens. There you are, he says. I was worried you'd left without saying goodbye. I wouldn't dream of it, Your Highness, I reply, turning to smile at him. Please, call me Adrian. He joins me at the railing. I feel like we've moved past formalities. Adrian, then. We stand in comfortable silence for a moment. Then he says, there's something I need to tell you. Something about this ball, about why I'm really here. I raise an eyebrow. I'm listening. My father, the king, is dying. He has perhaps 6 months left. Before he goes, he wants to see me married, settled, with an heir on the way. Adrian's voice is heavy. This ball isn't about love. It's about duty, about securing the succession. About finding someone suitable to be queen. And have you found someone suitable? I ask carefully. He turns to look at me, and there's an intensity in his gaze that makes my breath catch. I've found someone extraordinary. Someone who sees through the pretense, who speaks truth even when it's uncomfortable. Someone who's survived something terrible and come through it stronger. He takes my hand. Lady Celestia, I know we've only just met. I know this is madness. But I'd like to know you better. I'd like to see if this, he gestures between us, could be something real. My heart clenches. He has no idea who I really am. No idea what I've just done. Adrian, I begin, but he interrupts. I'm not asking for an answer tonight. I'm asking for a chance. Will you at least consider it? The clock begins to chime again. 1 o'clock. Vivian has less than an hour. I need to go, I say abruptly. What? But. I'm sorry. I need to go. Right now. I pull away from him and rush back through the ballroom. I can feel eyes following me, hear whispers starting up again. I don't care. I need to get out of here before anyone connects me to what's about to happen. I'm halfway down the grand staircase when it happens. My glass slipper catches on something, a loose stone, a crack in the marble, and I stumble. The shoe flies off, tumbling down the stairs. I catch myself on the railing, but there's no time to retrieve it. Wait. Adrian calls from behind me. Your shoe. But I'm already running, leaving the glass slipper behind like evidence at a crime scene. The carriage is waiting. I throw myself inside and shout at the driver to go. As we race away from the palace, I allow myself one last look back. Adrian stands at the top of the stairs, holding my glass slipper, looking utterly bewildered. I almost feel sorry for him. Almost. The manner is exactly as I left it. I change out of the silver dress, hiding it away again. I wash off the makeup, take down my hair. I put on my simple servant's clothes and resume my role. When the authorities arrive 2 hours later, I'm scrubbing the kitchen floor. Miss Ashwood, the constable asks. I look up, keeping my expression neutral. Yes? I'm afraid we have some difficult news. Your stepmother has been found dead in the palace. It appears to be suicide by poison. We found evidence in her bedroom of extensive criminal activity, theft, embezzlement, and, forgive me, but evidence suggesting she may have been involved in your father's death. I let my face crumple. I let tears flow. I play the part of the shocked, grieving daughter perfectly. No, I whisper. Not again. First father, now. We're very sorry for your loss, the constable says awkwardly. We'll need to ask you some questions, but that can wait. Is there anyone who can stay with you? My stepsisters, I say. They were at the ball. They've left the city, miss. Apparently departed quite suddenly. Did they say anything to you about their plans? I shake my head. No. Nothing. Which is technically true. The next few days pass in a blur of investigation and revelation. The authorities uncover everything: Vivian's embezzlement, the forged will, even witness testimony about the night my father died. The story spreads through the city like wildfire. Poor Ella Ashwood, everyone says. Orphaned and abused, and now she's lost her stepmother too. What a tragedy. The real will is validated. Everything, the manor, my father's business, the money, comes to me. I'm suddenly one of the wealthiest young women in the kingdom. And then, exactly 1 week after the ball, Prince Adrian comes calling. I'm in my father's study, my study now, reviewing business documents when the butler announces him. Your Highness, I say, standing and curtsying. This is unexpected. Miss Ashwood, he says, and there's something knowing in his eyes. Or should I say, Lady Celestia? My blood runs cold. I don't know what you mean. He pulls something from his pocket, the glass slipper. This fits only 1 foot in the entire kingdom. I've had my people searching for a week. Every woman who attended the ball tried it on. None of them could wear it. He steps closer. But I think you could. That's ridiculous, I say, but my voice lacks conviction. Is it? He sets the shoe on the desk between us. The mysterious lady who appeared out of nowhere. The woman who spoke about suffering and survival. Who disappeared the exact same night Lady Vivian Ashwood died in the palace. His eyes search mine. It's quite a coincidence. Coincidences happen. Try on the shoe, he challenges. And if I refuse? Then I'll know you have something to hide. We stare at each other for a long moment. Finally, I sit down and extend my foot. The glass slipper slides on perfectly. Adrian exhales slowly. I knew it. Congratulations, I say coldly. You've solved the mystery. Now what? Will you have me arrested? Investigated? Denounced? That depends, he says. Did you kill her? I meet his eyes. Yes. The admission hangs in the air between us. I wait for his reaction: horror, disgust, anger. Instead, he says, "Tell me why." So I do. I tell him everything: my father's murder, Vivian's embezzlement, the months of abuse. I tell him about the investigation I conducted, the evidence I gathered, the choice I gave my stepsisters. I tell him the truth about the poisoned wine and what it represented. When I finish, Adrian is quiet for a long time. My father wants me to marry, he finally says. To find someone suitable to be queen. Someone strong, intelligent, capable of ruling. He looks at me. Someone who understands that sometimes justice exists outside the law. What are you saying? I'm saying that I looked into your stepmother's death. Really looked. And I found some interesting things. Witnesses who saw her drinking from her private brandy before the ball. Evidence suggesting she brought the poison herself, perhaps intending to use it on someone else, maybe even on my father. He leans forward. It's entirely possible that Lady Vivian Ashwood died by her own hand, caught by her own trap. Don't you think? I study his face carefully. Why would you do that? Why protect me? Because I spent one evening with you, and I learned more about truth, justice, and the complexity of morality than in years of royal education. He picks up the glass slipper. Because I think you'd make an excellent queen. And because... He hesitates. Because I'd like to get to know the real you. Not Lady Celestia, not the broken victim everyone thinks you are. Just Ella. The real me is a murderer, I point out. The real you is a survivor who refused to let injustice stand. He smiles slightly. There's a difference. Is there? That's what I'd like to find out. He extends his hand. What do you say, Ella Ashwood? Will you give us, a chance? I look at his hand, then at the glass slipper, then at the study around me, my father's legacy, my inheritance, my hard-won justice. I think about fairy tales and the lies they tell. About victims who aren't really victims. About princes who see complexity instead of simple narratives. And I take his hand. One chance, I say. But if you ever betray me, if you ever try to control me or diminish me or take what's mine, you'll poison my wine, he suggests with a hint of humor. Something like that. He laughs, and it's genuine. Fair enough. I'll consider myself warned. 6 months later, I stand in the palace cathedral in a gown of silver and white, a crown of diamonds in my hair. The kingdom watches as I become Princess Ella, future queen. In the front row, I see Cordelia and Daphne, back from their self-imposed exile, pardoned by royal decree. They're crying, whether from joy or guilt or relief, I'm not sure. We've reached an understanding, my stepsisters and I. They know what I did. I know what they knew. We carry our secrets together. As Adrian places the ring on my finger, I think about the story people will tell about this day. Poor Cinderella, rescued from abuse by a handsome prince. A fairy tale come true. They'll never know the real story. How Cinderella rescued herself. How she demanded justice when the world offered none. How she refused to be a victim. How sometimes, the princess is the most dangerous person in the room. I now pronounce you husband and wife, the Archbishop intones. Adrian kisses me, and the crowd erupts in cheers. As we walk back down the aisle together, I catch sight of my reflection in one of the cathedral's mirrors. I'm smiling. And in my hand, hidden in the folds of my gown, I carry a small glass vial. Just in case. Because fairy tales have taught me one crucial lesson. always be prepared for wolves dressed as grandmothers, for poisoned apples, for betrayal hiding behind a smile. And if the world wants to cast me as Cinderella, then I'll play the part. But I'll play it on my own terms. After all, they never tell you what Cinderella did after she became queen. That story is mine to write. And I'm just getting started. Five years later, I sit in my private chambers, writing in my journal. My son, the heir to the throne, sleeps peacefully in his cradle nearby. Adrian is in meetings with the council, probably arguing about trade agreements or military positioning. I've proven to be an excellent queen. Fair but firm, compassionate but not weak. The people love me because I understand suffering. The nobles respect me because I understand power. And no one suspects that the kingdom's greatest mysteries, the corrupt officials who suddenly confess their crimes, the abusers who inexplicably choose to turn themselves in, the villains who seem to develop sudden, fatal illnesses, are all my doing. Justice, I've learned, comes in many forms. Sometimes it wears a crown. A knock at the door interrupts my thoughts. My lady-in-waiting enters, curtsying. Your Majesty, there's a young woman here to see you. She says it's urgent. She says. The lady-in-waiting hesitates. She says she needs help from someone who understands what it's like to be powerless. I set down my pen. Show her in. The girl who enters is young, maybe 16, with bruises poorly hidden by makeup and fear in her eyes. She reminds me of someone. She reminds me of me. Your Majesty, she whispers, dropping into a curtsy. I'm sorry to disturb you. I didn't know where else to go. Tell me, I say gently, gesturing for her to sit. Tell me everything. As she begins her story, of abuse, of injustice, of a system that fails the powerless, I listen carefully. And when she finishes, I smile. Don't worry, I tell her. I know exactly how to help you. I pull open my desk drawer and remove a small glass vial. After all, every girl deserves her own fairy tale ending. She just has to be willing to write it herself. The end.